Are you in the mood for a good horror movie? This week we saw Crimson Peak. Now, Crimson Peak is a horror movie, and I'll preface this review by saying that is not my genre. I avoid horror movies as if they're the plague. I really don't care for them. I decided to see this movie because of the trailers. The trailer shows this movie as being extremely atmospheric in typical Del Toro style. It has a living, breathing aspect when it comes to the backgrounds and the world itself. The world is another character. That was the reason I came to see the movie. When I saw the movie, that was literally the only good thing about the movie, was the atmospheric concept of the movie. I didn't feel that the actual characters were very good. Not that Tom Hiddleston didn't act very well. He's a very good actor. But they were one-dimensional characters, extremely cliche. The only character that was worth witnessing was the atmosphere. And the atmosphere was absolutely amazing. The sets and the places that they're in are mind-boggling. You just want to sit there and watch panoramas of these areas, but then people start talking and the whole thing goes downhill. As someone that is considered to be a lightweight, self-proclaimed lightweight when it comes to horror movies, which is one of the reasons I do not watch them, this movie did not scare me at all. That is crazy, because any other horror movie I've ever seen, I was like cowering in a corner and everybody was laughing at me. And I'm man enough to say that. But this movie did not affect me at all. Its jump scares, which aren't that many of, are telegraphed. Like, way telegraphed. Like, even I saw them coming. The actual bits of gore, while extreme, are so extreme that you're just kind of like, really? I've seen enough Japanese horror movies in my day, back when I wasn't quite as much of a wimp, to realize that it's really not that big of a deal. The one or two scenes that went into that realm. Overall, the movie is boring. The pacing issues plaguing the first half of that movie were ridiculous. You don't even get to Crimson Peak for about half of the movie, and the entire build-up took about 3 times longer than they needed to for a very simple story. Neat atmosphere, cool place to watch. Not entirely sure why an entire movie was justified on just that basic storyline, and why they didn't try to fill in some of the gaps with some more character development and get you a little more invested in the things they're doing. They definitely had enough time to do so, but they just chose not to do it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this movie a 4. And all 4 of those points were for atmosphere. I actually expected to get scared, because like I had stated earlier, it's a horror movie and I'm a wimp and I would get scared at any horror movie. It didn't even begin to affect me. And the characters, which I think would be very important if you're doing a thriller style horror movie, you would need the characters and the ambiance to work together to form this tension. And I don't feel there's any tension in this movie whatsoever, so 4. Let's see what our other ghosts had to say. So, Crimson Peak. What'd you think?
In all honesty, I had a hard time not laughing at how much I didn't like this movie. I'm sure you figured that out because you got mad at me a couple times, but I didn't enjoy this movie, and it got to a point with a lot of scenes where I chuckled because I was like, this is retarded. I will say I loved the clothing, the looks, everything, how they made it look with the old-fashioned. I thought it looked spectacular that way. I did like that, but I just didn't connect with the movie at all. I didn't feel like I was enjoying it. I honestly felt like more I wanted to look at my clock, but I knew it was going to be bright as all get out, which it was. It did not feel like something of of escape that I wanted, and that's what I look for in movies, to escape and have a good time with it. Tom Hiddleston, I do love him. I think he's got that evil to him that just makes you go, he is evil. I mean, you know it, you feel it. I love how he still has that genre to him, and even in this film, I mean, that's what he's supposed to be, but you could just, that's him. So I did like that. Other than that, storyline, the whole plot in a way was just not enjoyable to me.
The dialogue and screenplay were god-awful. The cinematography and art direction were really, really good. The music was okay for its genre. The jump scares were predictable. Tom Hiddleston, awesome as always. This is my first time seeing him in a non-Loki role. I learned that crimson is actually deep red. I did not know that. I've seen Crimson Associated Red, but didn't know what it meant. So I learned something new today. But other than that, this wasn't really a scary film, other than seeing that ghost in the shadow. I think ghosts are better when you only see their shadows, moving in a very weird way, but not to see them in detail, because then that kind of is like, okay, you're either going to love it or hate it. If you keep them in the shadows and stuff like that, when you don't really see them, but they're always there, right there with you, that's more scary to me. That's why I like Paranormal Activity so much. You don't really see the demons, you don't really see these things, but you know they're there, and that's what makes it so freaking horrifying. Oh, by the way, you see red a lot in this movie. I wonder why that is.
It's like a theme. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this and why?
I'm going to give this a 5.5, simply because it had great art direction and cinematography. It had the look, it lacked the screenplay.
I'm gonna give this a 4. And the only reason I'm giving even a 4 is because of those few facts I said I liked. Other than that, it would be even lower.
What is your favorite horror movie?
I'm gonna go with Resident Evil. I enjoyed that movie. It had a good plot, and I liked that I played the games, and I liked the whole fact that they were trying to do it. They really got me with the lickers in that movie, though. The lickers terrified me in the game, to a point where I had to put the controller down and walk away. In the movie, I paused it, and I didn't watch it for another week.
What is your favorite horror movie?
A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Wes Craven version, not the rebooted version, which is why they haven't made a sequel since then. Rip Wes Craven, who died about a month ago, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
just recently. So we want to know, down in the comments below, let us know what your favorite horror movie is. So my favorite horror movie, and the one that's literally scarred me for life, is a movie from Japan called Suicide Circle. It's known as Suicide Club in America. There are scenes in that movie that have scarred my childhood, even though I guess I saw it when I was in my 20s. That movie is just brutal. If you haven't seen it and you're a fan of horror, see it, and then when you don't sleep that night, don't blame me. If you'd like to see our video from last week, click here. Don't forget to like and favorite this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We have movie reviews every week. And as always, we're letting you know before you go at Brennan Theaters.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this ain't it or something.
Oh no, they'll realize it's bull in my review.
Okay.
And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us, and Facebook. I forgot one though. Don't.
Leave 3 seconds.
I would have led 3 seconds, but he started talking. Don't forget to like this video, favorite this video, and subscribe to us on YouTube. That's horrible. Don't forget to like this video on YouTube. I don't like to say on YouTube. You're on YouTube. Don't forget to like this video. I got it. I know I'm going to do it. And we're letting you... Nah.
And as always, we're letting you go.